Yesterday, the 26th, there was great news announced by the Minister for Transport, Dara O'Brien, that I am sure was a joy to hear for yourselves in Western Track. For the benefit of any of our listeners today in Colmán and Dublin who may not know what this news is, can you give them a summary, please, of what is this great news that concerns yourselves in Western Track?
Yes, well, yesterday, as part of a national package of transport measures and plans for the future, the next 5 years, the government included the building of the next phase of the Western Rail Corridor and said that it would be completed by 2030. Now, that is a section of railway line travelling on a north-south axis or a south-north axis in the west of Ireland, connecting Athenry, County Galway, which is near the city of Galway, with Claremorris, County Mayo. And the significance of that is that all of the major towns in Mayo, including Claremorris, Westport, Castlebar and Ballina, are all connected by rail to the east, to Dublin. But we used to have a railway which connected us also to Galway, Limerick, Cork and Waterford. Now, the missing piece of that railway will now be reconnected so that we will have connectivity now to our regional capital in Galway, as well as being able to change at Athenry and go down to Limerick, Waterford, Cork, or anywhere in the south that we wish to go, Ennis, for example. And it will bring back, we'll be travelling through, say, the town of Tuam, which has a population of 10,000 people, the largest town in County Galway. Currently, we have that railway line there, but it is disused and closed, right? So what's going to happen is that railway will be completely refurbished and brought back as a state-of-the-art railway line. And it will play an enormous role in alleviating some of the big pressures that Galway has. Not all of them, of course, but some of them. It will allow people to leave their cars at home and travel to work for medical purposes to Galway. It will allow students to commute to Galway rather than having to live in pokey, over-expensive places if they can even find them in Galway. And of course, it will create a tourist synergy between Galway and Westport, because we expect that there will be direct services between the two.
It's fantastic news. Okay, Colmán, is the campaigning of Western Tract over now that you have this commitment from Dara O'Brien?
No, because we still have the final third of the railway to be connected, and that's just to go. Just to say that the first part of the Western Rail Corridor was opened in 2010, and it connected Ennis to Athenry, and therefore connected Galway City to Limerick City. And that, for the last 7 years, has been the busiest and fastest growing railway in the country. Last year, it carried 750,000 passengers, 750,000 people. And it's at full capacity. If they had bigger trains and more trains, then there would be even more passengers travelling on it. But they're actually full, the trains. So Iarn Roderden, to a certain extent, is a victim of its own success in this. Not only with the Western Rail Corridor, but with most of its rail services at the moment. However, there will be new rolling stock and so on in the near future. So hopefully that will be alleviated, shall we say. Now, in time, there's the question of finishing the Western Rail Corridor project, which would mean connecting Galway with Sligo. So when we reach Claremorris, you will be not quite halfway to Sligo, but nearly halfway to Sligo. And our objective is that Sligo, the second largest conurbation in the province of Connacht and in the west, should be connected by rail to Galway, as it was, believe it or not, in the 19th century. So it will alleviate the pressures that are on the N17, which is a single lane road north of Tuam, all the way to Donegal, and a very inferior road, although it's to be improved to some extent. It certainly won't make up for the fact that the traffic is increasing at an enormous rate. The population is now, of the state, is now twice what it was in the 1970. But the infrastructure in the west of Ireland is almost identical to what it was in the 1970s. So that's why rail is such an important, easy solution to a lot of the problems we've got. Like, for example, one train can carry the equivalent of 300 cars. So you can imagine the impact that 6 or 8 trains a day will have on the traffic situation in Galway alone, and also on the environment and on the wallets of the people driving them as well, because the train will be cheaper than what it will cost in petrol to drive from here to Galway. So all in all, it's a win-win situation for the climate, for the region, for balanced regional development. And we commend the government and indeed the opposition, who have been fully supportive as well of this development. All parties have united on this, and it's quite rare, as you know, Darren, in Ireland, that you have unanimity on these matters. But it's very important in the case of the West in particular, because we are a lagging region according to the European Union. And it's initiatives like this that will bring us out of that and back into some level of parity with the other regions of Ireland.
Yeah, and your campaigning into the West on this has been going on for around 20 years, hasn't it, Colin?
Yes, yeah. West on Track was established in 2003, and we have been campaigning ever since. And we're a completely voluntary organisation. We have many, many, many members in the group, but there would be a core of maybe 200 or 300 people who are right up at the top of the level of the campaign. And it's entirely voluntary, as I say. It's community-based. We have members in every town and village across the whole region, and particularly in the towns affected by the railway. So north of Claremorris, we would be hoping that the towns of Galway-Mayo, Swinford, Charlestown, and then in Sligo, Tubbercurry and Collooney will be connected by the railway, and that will bring us then into Sligo, which is already rail connected. So that's the objective. There's also an international airport halfway between Mayo and Sligo, and that airport carried nearly 1 million passengers last year. So we envisage that there would be a rail station located 7 minutes away from the airport at Charlestown, and that would be served by a rota of coaches. So it would be the first airport to be almost rail connected, at least in the state, if the plan goes ahead in the future. Now, obviously, the current phase, Athenry to Claremorris, will only be getting underway in the new year, so it will be 2030 before that's finished. But in the meantime, we will be hoping that the state will look favourably at planning to continue to Sligo, and the Minister himself has said that that is under consideration.
Agus inis an lína tá Colmán Ó Raghallaigh an grúpa factasíochta West on Track. A Colmán fáil tú dí an clár?
Gur míle maith go Darren.
Okay, Colmán, sé aniu an céadúir dún leabharta radio in Bheagnach Galway-Mayo. De bharr seo an féidir leat mabharcán na hórtstar néistóirí faoi cad a bhí a lorga goibh I West on Track agus an sin an neochtas déanaí a hórtstún le a
Well, boye vi chastal when West on Track na gon loslofer an Lina Irenroj o Gaeilge go Mayo agus an sin o Mayo go Sligo agus buis le gia a dogur an realtas go bhfuil an cuid sin gon Lina o Bhlánrí I chun na Gaeilge sus go Claremorris na bhuiire gon do Mayo le ha hoscailch. Agus sé an táhacht an bhanas le sin ná go geanglíonn sé na bailte móra go léir a gon do Mayo. Cahar na Mart, Claremorris na bhuiris, Caiisle na Wari, Béla ná agus Tuam I gon na Gaeilge. Go geanglíonn sé na bailte móra sin go léir le Bhlánrí agus an sin le Gaeilge, Cahar na Gaeilge, mar tá Lína Irenróid hena féin idir Bhlánrí agus Cahar na Gaeilge. Tá bhrí sin tuair sé seans do gcuoine atá géirí golig obair in sna háitiúcha sin taistil fréin. Daoine tá golig na hospidéal, mic léinn atá géirí dul stadéir in Gaeilge agus ar ile agus ar nói torasóirí atá géirí taistil ó Gaeilge go Cahar na Mart nó Cahar na Mart go Gaeilge agus mar sin de. So osclaíonn sé go leor dóirse do gcuoine. Ní bhain sin ach bei deise daoine taistil ó dheas go Limnach go Corcaigh go Fort Laogaigh go Héinis áitiúcha mar sin. So, leis an písa seo Irenróid, písa trocha míle go Irenróid, bei an chóras tréanach ar fad sa deisceart agus den íorthar á cheangail le chéile, agus osclaíonn sé mar a dúirt mé go leor féidireachtaí an sin don na daoine ar gá híomh an réigiúin.
Is ja scéile seo dar nói an bhfuil an obair agus factasíochta West on Track críoch an henis ar Colmán?
Níl mar tá an tríú cuid gon Lína le hoscailt inis. Faoi mar is ógait Darren Oscliú an céad cuid sa bhliain 2010 agus cheangail sin Blanrí agus Inis agus dáhhair sin bhí Gaeilge agus Limnach cheangailte. Agus ar písa bhí sé sin lá go leor mar bhí an géirchéim acnamíochta an ag an am ach de réir chéile thuaigh sé I bheabhas agus I dreise agus inis tá sí ar an cuid an líne is mó fáis sa tír le 7 nuas agus Athenry bhí 3-4 milliún duine ag taisteal ar an chéad cuid an líne. So tá muid ag súil go mbeidh an chéad cuid eile tá le hoscailte inis chomh rathúil chéine ach mar an de ceist ar aigart an tríú cuid go líne ó suas go dtí sligach tá sé sin le hoscailt ina dhír sin. Ní léon phlean go fóill an ach tá muid á bhrú agus tá an tara ag caint faoi go bhfuil daoine breanú ar sin agus mar sin dó. Bud ní léon airgid ar fáil go sin go fós caiim muid a thógáil mar a dearad fearr céim ar chéim. Ach clúdóch sé sin, ceanglóch sé sin sligach agus Gaeilge an dá chathair is mó in dheartháir na hÉireann. Agus idir atarmh tá airport idirnáisiúnta an sin agan in aice le Ballyglunin, Ireland West Airport, agus Athenry bhí breis suas le milliún duine ag taisteal tríd an airport sin. So sé an plán a bheith aganne ná go ganglóchaí an Tíreann Road go mbeadh stáisiún trénach don airport sin I Ballyglunin áit tá lonithe anagár ar fad don airport, tá sé 7 nóiméad ón airport. So sin an plán a bheith aganne tá muid á bhrú sin tá takeíocht mór le don achtas le dul aige sligach. Tá an Tara O'Brien agus an Tara Seán Kenny le mulla go mór as an cuid idir Blanrí agus Claremorris an bhuiris a hoscailte inis. Agus tá mé cinse nuair eicas siad an fáilte a churfar roimhe sin agus an riméad atá ar gcuoine agus an líne sin a thógáil inis go ceann ceithre bliana nó mar sin. Go gcuir sé ina nhin sin go bhfuil sé tábhachtach an tionscanmh a cruach nó suas chomh fada le sligach.